Hi and welcome to Biz Today. I am Nazareen Ebrahim. Biz Today is your weekly business show and we profile only the most successful entrepreneurs to inspire you. We go through business topics of the day and take key learnings from them, and then we take a look at your events diary and then also try to give you a lot of insight on additional information that's available online so that you can go and get your learnings up and running and make sure that you empower yourself, because learnings is important to an entrepreneur. So what do we have on our lineup for today's show? Remember that August is Women's Month, so we're commemorating a whole host of female founders and experts. We've got Jeanne Vogel van de Sant, who's the president of Umhlanga Women Achievers. She'll be talking to us about the organization. And then we profile a really interesting lady, Candice Courtney, of the beautiful and wonderful, quaint little So Whipped at the Gateway Theatre of Shopping, where they're taking coffee and food and bringing a lot of love to people. So stay tuned for that. To commemorate Women's Month on Biz Today, we've only selected the best female entrepreneurs, founders and experts to bring into studio. And as always, on our second episode of Biz Today, to commemorate Women's Month, we've got an amazing female entrepreneur based in Durban, who's a real inspiration to us all. A team of 4 people, So Whipped is one of Durban's most beautiful coffee places that offers a quaint and vintage experience. From gourmet cakes, cupcakes, cake pops, weddings and candy dessert buffets, serving artisan hand-roasted coffees, So Whipped has become the place to go in Durban. We have the co-founder of So Whipped, or rather the founder, Candice Courtney, who's going to inspire us with her story. Welcome to Biz Today, Candice. I'm so pleased you joined us.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So now let's just kick off. I think, I'm looking at all the female entrepreneurs that I've identified over the course of the weeks to get onto Biz Today, because I think our viewers also want to know real personal stories when you started from just with a simple idea. And you're one of those people, because I do know your story, but today I want the viewers to know. So who is Candice Courtney?
I try to not explain who I am, but more about my brand, I must admit.
Yeah.
I'm just me. I'm just a normal woman, like everyone else. There isn't anything special about me. I just one day fell into cake, and that's where it's gone. It's not about. My thing is anyone else can do it. Anyone else can do cake. Anyone else can start a business. And so there's nothing really special about me, I must admit.
No, there must be. I mean, not everyone decides to wake up one day and decide, I want to be an entrepreneur, because ultimately you're running a business, you're providing employment for people, you're wanting to build something real and lasting. And that's an incredible thing.
I would say it's probably one of the most difficult things to do. You have to, I grew up with 2 brothers, so I'm a little bit more hardy than most girls.
Oh, that's great.
But it is a lot of work. It's an incredible amount of work and a lot of sacrifice. But also, I just believe we live in seasons. So sowing and reaping it's my belief. And so this is a season to sow, and we work hard, and we will reap the benefits later on. And having 2 kids, I do this for them,
That's such a positive philosophy to live by, because obviously you're thinking long term. That vision is there. This is what I want to do also, and you're very family centered. Now, your career started out in advertising, which is not very far removed from what we have to do in business every day, the concept of selling.
Yes.
So how did you decide on this career choice, and what was that experience like?
Advertising.
Yeah.
So, so I went into teaching for 6 months.
Right.
And then decided it wasn't for me, because I love children.
This was when you came straight out of school, right?
Yes, yeah. Straight out of school, went to university, did it for 6 months, really didn't enjoy it. Loved the kids, but just didn't love, the study. I'm not sure what it was. Went into graphic design. And loved it. The creative. I think that's more the thing that inspired me, was being able to be creative with design and be able to make things beautiful. So got into advertising, really enjoyed it, loved the people aspect, because I love people, and then moved across from advertising to brand management, and that's when I met Edith Fenter.
Yeah.
And she does all these amazing events, and she's a phenomenal woman. And she was the marketing manager for the company. I was the brand manager.
That's incredible. So you met someone who was such an influential point.
Yes.
And they helped to push your career forward.
Yes, well, they inspired me to go on my own. Yeah. I was also pregnant at the time. and decided I wanted to stay at home with my children.
That was my next question to you. I mean, that was a defining moment for you while you were in the advertising industry. How long were you in the advertising industry?
2001 to 2008.
That's solid grounding then. 7 years is
yeah, 7 years. No, I loved it. Hey, if I could go back, I would go back. I'm in cake now. It's just
of course.
Seasons. Everything's in season.
That sounds so amazing. I love the way you describe it. You fell into cake. It's almost like a Alice in Wonderland moment.
Yeah, pretty much. I ate the cookie, and
exactly. And you grew, and your business is growing as a result of that. But that inspired moment that you had was obviously, I mean, you met Edith Venter. You know, you meet people.
Yes.
And some people just, you immediately connect with their spirit or their positive energy that they give you, and it inspires something in you immediately. But was that the exact moment you decided, I want to own my time, or was it a gradual inspiration?
I think partly because I was pregnant. I mean, I love working, so this is my thing. Work makes me feel alive. Being a mother makes me feel alive as well. I mean, being a mother is the most important thing to me, and being a wife. I mean, you try and do everything as best you can do in every way. Okay, so you might drop the ball in certain areas, but if you constantly striving to do the best that you can possibly do, I don't see how you can not do well. Do you know what I mean? If you're giving everything...
It sounds exactly like a point where you said, I have a family, you know, where am I going in the advertising industry? Is it something that's going to be viable? You obviously thought about the consequences for your family. It seemed like, and also what would the end result be? Would it be something that inspired them? So it feels like you obviously had those thought processes. Yeah,
well, I wanted to be able to, I believe that, okay, so children's moral code is formed from 0 to 5 years old.
How old are your kids?
3 and 5, or 4 and 5, last Saturday, yeah. So I wanted to be there to be able to establish their moral code. Very important for me as for what I believe, as a parent. I don't want my children to drink and take drugs and go off the rails, and I believe that's what you set as a parent, and that's my job as a mum, to instill that moral code into their lives. And so I chose to stay at home, and I started my business from home.
Now, we're going to explore that a little bit more, but I just also want to remark on a point that you just made about being so committed to your family, because it's a constant debate in the corporate world about women and women at work, and the often negative association around wanting to start a family and foster that idea of growing a family while you're climbing the corporate ladder. There's such a debate around it. There's a lot of sometimes disrespect accorded to the idea of that. And so to hear you speak about it is so positive, because a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs watching the show are then empowered to say, yes, I know that I can foster a family, I can raise a family, and I'm going to do the best because I'm going to find that ever elusive balance, but you will find one.
It is actually about finding balance. The whole thing is a balancing act constantly. There's no... You balancing your life with your kids, your husband. You need to, and it's all about time, because your time management is very important. And my time management, I must admit, is not very good, because I am a creative. It's very hard to kind of compartmentalize everything.
Absolutely.
But it's important, and if you can get help, I really believe South Africa, we have the incredible opportunity of having someone help in your home. I have the most incredible helper. She is amazing, and without her, I think we would never have been able to go on where we've gone, and as a family. And she has allowed me to be able to take time where I needed to take time and be at the cafe. Lots of late nights making wedding cakes. And my husband as well, incredibly supportive. He's like very open-handed. He's allowed me to be able to do what I feel that I need to do, because I really believe that I have a calling, and in God. And my thing is, I want to build my company to be able to do good. I don't want to. What are we here for?
Pure commercial.
No, it's not about commercial.
Exactly.
What are we here for? We are here to make a difference in people's lives. We are here on this earth to show God's love. Otherwise I must go now. God must take me now, because it's not about.
There's no purpose then in.
No, there's no purpose. Why are we here? We're here to make a difference, to show God's love, to represent God. And so on that point, we're doing, we're about to start a little blog kickoff with 100 days of cupcakes.
Okay, so now I haven't
told you about it.
You haven't told me about this, and we're going to talk about this, but we're going to talk about this a bit later. What I want to know right now is when you started So Whooped, when you thought, okay, I'm going to stay at home, I'm going to invest in this particular passion of mine, and it's going to turn into something much more. What was the beginning or the startings of the business like? What was it like for you? I mean, you had to find a space to bake, you had to find people to buy. What was it like? Tell us about that experience.
I must admit, I found social media to be, obviously coming from an advertising aspect.
This was back in 2009. 2009. Just the beginnings of social media in South Africa.
Yes, yeah. So social media wasn't really big.
Yeah.
But I found that social media was amazing. It was an amazing tool. Just being on Google and having a website was amazing. I would have people phone me.
I actually found you back in 2011 through your website, through a simple Google search.
Yeah, well, that was exactly it. So I just started a blog. It wasn't even an expensive website. I just started blogging, put some images up on the blog, and people would phone me and ask me to do cakes. And the answer was always yes. Yeah. Can you do it? Yes. I have no idea how to.
Most aspiring entrepreneurs often wonder, people are going to call me up. It's sort of in their line of business. But a lot of them say no. They don't say yes. And I found that to be an incredibly important lesson to learn. I will say yes, and then I will go and find out how to do it. Don't ever say no.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Well, so if you don't know how to do something, find someone who can help you do it.
Exactly.
Take the work. You want that work, especially when you're setting up. You want all that business. You don't have. It's not like your inbox is full of
and you have already
messages and you can battle
waiting
to reply to them. You want that work, so you just say yes. You don't undercut. You charge a decent amount of money. I think when you start undercutting, people view you as cheap and people value you
less.
Less. Yeah. So I charge what I believe I'm worth, and so therefore people value my opinion or value my work. Or when I was doing graphic. So did you have problems with? Did you have initially when you started the business? And this is a good point that I want a lot of entrepreneurs to take note of. Did you have? Everybody talks about the battle with pricing. Did you have that battle initially, or did you know exactly this is how much I'm going to cost everything, and I'm not going to budge on the price unless you have a supplier-client relationship, because that's different from being consumer to business, right? Yes. I must admit, I didn't have that problem because I'd learnt it in advertising. Yeah. So because I would do branding for people, and the less I charged for the branding, it would be the same branding. I put in the same hours. Those people didn't value the work. It was very odd. They were just almost, it's only $2,000. And they throw it away. Do you know what I mean?
How do you deal then with a request like that? Somebody comes to you and says, well, this price is just too much. Can't you make a plan? Is a common phrase. Or
I must admit, I say, go and find it somewhere else.
Great.
Not really.
Exactly.
But I can't do it for less than that. My time is worth a certain amount. And the truth is there are bakers that will be able to do it for a cheaper amount, and the truth is they probably don't necessarily use the quality ingredients that we use. But I'm not phased about it. We've got so much work. It's not an issue. Yeah. Of course. It's not about turning people away because they're trying to undercut you. It's about valuing
the
yourself.
Value.
Yeah. So even if you turn that person away, it's not you've lost a client or anything like that. You know your value and you trust your value, and you know whether your work is good or not. And it's just about respecting yourself. It's not about flogging yourself to anyone else.
But that's exactly it, about maintaining that integrity with yourself as well.
Yes.
Because the more you give in to people, I mean, you see in startup entrepreneurs face this challenge all the time, is that you give in to always undervaluing your service by providing a cheaper price. And eventually you're just slogging so much.
And not making any money.
Yeah. But now, in the course of building your business in these last couple of years, how did you continually innovate with your products?
I think I just did a lot of skill development. I had no cooking or baking background. My grandmother and my mother were probably my only two input in my life with regards to baking. So Google was phenomenal. Google was an amazing tool. If I didn't know how to do something, I would just Google it.
This is so cool because you can, one of our other guests also said that they learned purely from using Google as a research tool.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I even set up some websites using Google. It's just incredible. That if you don't know how to do something, you type it in, tells you how to do it, step by step, sorted. I mean, with cake, it's a little bit easier even. They've got videos. So I was watching, for example, how to pipe roses last night because I just wanted to polish up on some of my rose piping. So and it's amazing. There's so much out there that you can learn from, and it's all on Google.
Incredible. So, and the lesson we're going to take away from here is that if you don't have the skill, it's not necessarily that you can't go and acquire it. It's just you need to go and look and learn and research thoroughly.
Everyone has Wi-Fi. Everyone has a cell phone. Go and look on Google. If you want to do something, if you want to become a plumber, they've got videos on how to do plumbing. It's amazing.
And if you're not able to access a Wi-Fi point, find a coffee shop, sit there that has Wi-Fi and be able to do that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think also another thing that entrepreneurs need to understand and to learn as a skill that needs to be honed consistently is how to be resourceful. And to continually innovate with yourself, with your learnings and with what you're offering. But it brings me to another thought I have, and is you've been building the business. You've been putting the hours in, your 10,000 hours into building this business. There must be quite a lot of challenges while raising a young family. What is that like, and can you tell us a bit more about how you manage that?
At the moment, we're not managing. No, so I keep telling myself it's a season. So my kids are phenomenal. My husband is amazing. My helper is phenomenal as well. My family is incredibly supportive. I am not necessarily seeing my kids as much as I used to, and I do see that it is taking a little bit of a strain on their lives. I'm fully aware of it, but I keep telling myself this is for them. It's been 7 months since we've opened at the cafe, and it's hard graft at a cafe. It's very hard graft at a cafe.
Of course. It's at one of South Africa's largest malls.
Yes, the highest grossing malls in the country. It's hard graft, but it's worth it. It's for them. I want to send them to the best schools I can possibly send them to. I want to give them every opportunity. I want to set them up when they start businesses. This is my gift to them. Is there less love from me? No. Do they feel less loved? I don't believe that.
Now I understand what you say when you have to balance. It's constant balancing.
Yes, yeah. So go home. I mean, literally, there is very little time for myself. I get home, bath the kids, get them ready. My hubby's already fed them because we're trying to get them in this early bedtime routine.
Of course.
And so we bath them, put them into bed, and I jump in with them and we cuddle and we talk about the day, and that's our special moment where we connect and we talk about life and And this morning when we were chatting, I had to disappear because my 5-year-old was having a bit of a breakdown, and we just spoke about because he had lost.
What was his breakdown?
He had lost his dinosaur tooth. It's not really a dinosaur tooth. It's a dinosaur tooth. It's a shell that looks like a dinosaur tooth. Oh. But he had show and tell this morning. So he was distraught because he couldn't find it, and we sat and we discussed stuff, and I said, boy, you can't just break down when you can't find something. You actually just need to make another plan. And I mean, and that's where I've been in my space in the cafe. So now we've got a leak at the moment. Can't just break down, just make another plan. I've disconnected all the waste pipes so that they can go into buckets. It's just water. It's nothing hectic. Yeah. And I'll wait until the plumber can come. But I will run, and I will not close shop, and I will make sure everything.
And you will not curl up and cry about it.
Yes, no crying.
Exactly.
No crying. I think the first month and a half that I opened, I cried big tears, big ugly tears, to random strangers who I had never met, because it was such a shock to the system. It is. Working in the service industry, people can be quite rude, and whether you like, and the whole time you're trying to do your best, no one really wants to offer bad service.
Yeah.
And so December was manic, and we had just opened in December, and it was my first experience of retail and all that. And it was, I mean, I must admit, I was exhausted and, yeah.
So you've got a combined number of 6 years in this business, and then it came to this point where you're taking the business now to the public, in the public eye.
Yes, yeah.
Like completely. It's in a retail
100%.
space at one of the largest malls, and you're saying, this is who we are. Come and see if you like it.
And I must admit, the first month we opened, we had flood, we had fire, we had electrical, we had, it was raining through the ceiling.
Yeah.
We had theft. There was just so much that was happening.
These were the challenges that you faced in the first month. I am so grateful that you had
the first week of
opening.
And then my beautiful Lamazoka, we've got the one, so a Lamazoka machine is probably one of the top coffee machine in the world. We have this beautiful vintage, and it died on us the first week because of load shedding.
My goodness.
And so there was a whole lot of stuff. So now I can tell my child, boy, there are kids that are not eating breakfast today. You're complaining because you can't find a tooth, a shell that's not even a tooth. Find an alternative, make a plan, do the best you can do, and move forward. You can't sit and cry about it.
What did he say?
He worked through it. It was quite, I mean, he's quite, I feel like my little boy is quite intelligent emotionally. So once he understands it, he moves on.
But that's, you know what you just described there, and I am so pleased to share that story with us, because not only were you able to draw on your own experience of dealing with big people problems, and running a business is not any easy task, not for the faint-hearted, certainly, but you were able to take that and then move across into the space of the realm of family, because you're also a mother, and be able to coach or nurture this important little person in your life, and transfer the big people skills to a small person. And that's so important in raising these young people. Yes, because I think in South Africa, we sort of have the challenge where we're trying to say to youth, you have all the resources around you. You have all the opportunity. Leverage that. Ask people for help. So I really like that you're able to connect those two. And I think it's important for our viewers also to take that learning away. But another thing that interests me also is that I know that your husband, Brian, is in the business with you. What is it like, or how important is it to have a partner who supports your vision and that shared vision? You guys are working together.
Well, I think it's incredibly important because when you are married, you're a team. You have the same vision, you go in the same direction, and if you are in conflict, then your family doesn't work well. There's no so for us, it says in the Bible that God commands a blessing when there's unity, and so there has to be unity between the two of us. Otherwise, things don't work. It just doesn't happen. When there's no unity between Brian and I, it doesn't work. He's got my back a lot, and he picks me up all the time. Tonight with the plumbers with that leak, I think he's going to the shop this evening, just to help me out because they're coming. They can only work after hours. But just little things. He's there on the weekend to help me out, so I can have a gap and have a break because there is no break. There's no break.
And he's also from the advertising industry, and that's why your synergy works so well, because not only do you understand the depth of your work, but the challenges you face, so you're able to support each other much better, which is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So now, tell us, what are the future plans for So Whipped? I mean, what do you have in mind?
Okay, so Whipped is, at the moment, on the far side of Gateway. It's on the dark side of Gateway. So my plans are to try and drive foot traffic. That's the whole reason why Gateway put us in that little corner. So I want to be able to affect the other store holders really well, and help them do well with their sales, because it's quite a lonely area in that area, but it's beautiful and quiet at the same time, which is lovely. It's a really
beautiful spot. I think you have so much potential around it from being there.
Yeah, well, I love it. It's my little happy place. I think later, and I think we'll probably franchise. We're busy in the process of franchising at the moment. And then I want to move into more of a small business development side of it. So teach people how to bake, let them be able to bake for the community that they're in. And train them up.
Is that the CSI side of the project?
Yes, that's still coming. When we have enough money, we will do that. Yeah. That's my plan. But my heart is always about people. I met my husband And he was in like Sierra Leone working with orphans, and then I was up the North Coast working with orphans as well, and we were building houses and
Sierra Leone and to the North Coast.
Yeah, well, and then he had just come back, and I was still in the village, and that's why we fell in love. It was because we love people. So that's the heart behind it. We'd very much like to change this country. There are no jobs. There are very little jobs in this country.
Yeah.
And the truth is, the only way we're going to be able to pull ourselves out of this is if we help people create their own jobs.
That's right. That's truly, I think, what would define a successful entrepreneur is somebody who can effect change and effect it well and inspire the greatness out of others. And that clearly is what it seems to be the vision with you and Brian, and especially the business of So Whooped, because whenever I come to the coffee shop, it's not just a beautiful, vintage, quaint place to be, but there's so much of love in that place. So, that's what I think you can see the shared, inspired vision of the two of you coming out in your work, which I think everybody at the end of the day, if you can define success, what success would be.
Yeah,
right?
Well, success is people. My thing is, you don't leave. Okay, so you can leave a business behind, but it doesn't come with you. You take the people that you've impacted with you. That's my mantra. You have to impact people well, and you have to change their lives, because you don't. That's what life is about. Why are you here otherwise? Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
To love on people, because God loves people.
What are your final words of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs?
Work hard. Don't be afraid of hard work. Realize it's going to be really difficult. It is really hard. If you think that you are going to do well overnight, it isn't like that. You have to be consistent. You have to manage your time well, which I don't do. But you're trying.
I mean, you're running your business quite effectively. So I think it's just a give and take of everything. You just have to be aware and be sure of yourself.
If you're going to do it, if I had a chance to do it before I had kids, I would, honestly, just because it gives me more time. So I would have had more time to be able to give to my business. I think that you have to be surrounded by people who have your best interests at heart.
Yeah.
You have to you go and see somebody who has done it and who has done it well, and get them to partner with you.
To mentor you.
Mentor you, yeah. You need a mentor. I think it's really important. I wouldn't have gotten through December, January, February if it wasn't for a guy who came and helped me, and he used to run a cafe, and
knows the challenges and
he knows everything, and he was the buffer between me and suppliers, and between me and staff, and between me and people, nasty restaurant people.
Exactly. I know we talked about this before.
He was amazing, and I must tell you, God had told me. I woke up in the morning and God said, "I've got a surprise for you." He sends me on these little treasure hunts. It's amazing. And I met with this guy Gary. And he used to run a cafe at Elusimo, and he said, "This is what I would like. I would like to share your kitchen, to do my own thing, and in exchange, I will help set up all your."
That is incredible.
Your processes. Yeah, no, it was
almost
amazing.
Like a miracle that just happened.
No, it was a miracle. And I look back and I go, "Wow, God, that was the best gift," because I would never have coped. He was phenomenal.
That's incredible. Candice, I think, I'm so inspired by your story, and I know of your story, but I haven't heard it in such depth and detail prior to this. And I really am grateful that you came on the show today to share your story and to show other people that hard work, commitment, self-belief, faith, and all those wonderful things that all go together to make it happen are really possible. So thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thanks.
Wonderful. So on Biz Today, we are featuring Candice Courtney, the founder of So Whooped, fantastic cafe at the Gateway Theatre of Shopping. When you are in Durban, go and check it out. It's a very, very lovely space. It's full of love. So when you go there, it's just an amazing place to go and chill out.
And also know that in August, we're commemorating all female founders and experts. So it's our pleasure to bring you only the best and most inspired stories. When we come back, we will feature a representative from the Mshlanga Women Achievers organization.